Hi, it's Dr. Syra, and I want to talk to you about something really important as we're entering into the holiday season. Okay, so let's back up a little bit and talk about when you were little, because you know I love talking about that, right? Okay, so when you were really little, stuff was going on in your world, and you created these coping mechanisms, these survival mechanisms, these adaptations to manage your environment, which was whatever it was, right? So all of us had a different story about our youngest years, and you might remember your stories, you may not remember your stories, doesn't really matter. Fact is, all of us create these different strategies to manage whatever's happening in our environment. One of the strategies that we might have developed, I know that I developed it, is something called people pleasing, and also called compliance. So people pleasing and compliance, this thing that we kind of cultivated very carefully in the deepest parts of ourselves, in our subconscious mind over the years, so that the people around us would not be upset, and then therefore we would be okay. Okay, and it's not like I'm telling you something you don't already know. You probably have heard about people pleasing. What I'm interested in talking about today is going a little bit deeper into this concept. Okay, because we can understand people pleasing as a psychological concept. Like, yes, we do these behaviors so that we're liked, so that people don't get upset with us, so that we stay safe. And from a psychological perspective, that's why we do it. I want to go a little bit deeper here and talk about some spiritual principles that are connected in a different sort of way. So see if you can follow the thread here, okay? What if we were actually designed with generosity, with a big heartedness, with a pull to serve and help and support others? What if that's part of our design as spiritual beings who are having this physical experience? Okay. When we're really little, we may have some experiences of doing something and being, being helpful in some way, and then getting this like really cool response about being helpful. And somewhere along the line, we may have kind of twisted that up with our ego needs to be liked, to be accepted, to belong. These are all really natural things that we have, but they're based in a feeling of being separate, right? A feeling of being other than what's happening in our environment. If we take the spiritual principle of we are all one, okay, we're all connected, there's no separation between us, well, then it's makes complete sense to me that we would be drawn to service, that we would want to help other people, because by helping other people, I'm actually helping myself, right? If you are an extension of me from a spiritual perspective, if you're an extension of me, then when I'm helping you, I'm actually liberating all of us, right? So, okay, see if you can stay with me here. I know it's kind of a metaphysical concept, but I think it's really, really important that we get this, especially right now as we go into the holiday season, okay? So, our ego self, our personality has evolved to believe that we are separate, that I am this thing over here, and I have my own thoughts and my own beliefs and my own emotions and my own values, and then you're over here and you have your own thoughts, your own beliefs and your own emotions and your own values, and we're separate, and we have to somehow like interact with each other, okay? That's how mainstream psychology sees the human experience. If we go beyond that, okay, if we go beyond that and we look at what master teachers have been talking about for thousands of years, and that this human experience is temporary, and the true essence of who we are is something that is beyond this limited human experience, and that we all belong to that, and we're all the same. In my tradition, we talk about how we're all brothers and sisters, no matter what our leanings, our beliefs, our backgrounds, we're all brothers and sisters. We're all from the same family, okay? Then of course it makes sense for me to be generous. Then generosity is my natural state. So what some of us have had the experience of, and maybe you can relate to this, is that natural state of generosity, that natural state of wanting to support another, over the years got kind of skewed into more of a survival based, um, action and behavior based thing, rather than that natural expression of who we are as these generous beings. We kind of used, kind of got twisted into being self-serving, right? So if I'm gonna do things for you because that will make everything okay, but internally I'm building resentment. I'm keeping score. I'm waiting for when it's my turn. I'm talking about all these things that I do that are so great, or I'm not talking about it and hoping that people will notice all the things that I do and how helpful I am. That is not coming from that same big perspective, right? That's coming from that idea that I'm separate, I'm going to do something for you, and then you better reciprocate that something. And so that's the dark side of people pleasing, right? That we keep score and that we continue to believe that I am separate from you. And that's where we get things like burnout, compassion fatigue, overwhelm, because it's coming from me, from my limited energy, rather than I'm this spiritual being that's allowing I'm being resourced by something that's much, much bigger, older, more real than this physical human experience. Now, hopefully you're following me so far. I know I'm talking about some things that are a bit at the edges, right? We're kind of riding that cutting edge. But my invitation to you this season, and this is my heartfelt invitation, is to remember who you really are. Who you really are. And who you are is a connected being infused with this spiritual, it's so hard to put words to this, right? So who are you? Okay. You are love. You are a manifestation of the energy of love in a physical form. You're a manifestation of the energy of love in physical form. So if that's what I am, if I am love manifest, well then the things that I do, the way that I show up in the world is going to be that, right? It's not going to be this limited, separate, people pleasing thing that's trying to get something from someone else, that's trying to get approval or trying to get accolades or trying to whatever. I'm the one who actually brings something to the room. I'm not trying to get anything out of any room I enter. And so that's my challenge to you this season is could you be the one who has that generosity and that and brings that connectedness in any place you land. And it might be new for you. You might have never tried that before, right? You might have been really identified with that old way of being where, I have to behave a certain way so people like me and I have to do all the right things so that, I don't upset anybody. Well, what ends up happening then is that you're not actually tuning in and listening to what's needed in the moment. Because sometimes what's needed in the moment is a really loving no. Sometimes what's needed in the moment is to allow people to do things for themselves and fumble through and figure things out for themselves and actually not go in and rescue and save, right? But letting people be their own sovereign beings that are walking their own path with love and support and connection if they want it. But it's not our job to fix or save or heal or rescue anyone. And that's actually sometimes what happens with people who have that people pleasing tendency is they also sometimes tend to want to save everyone and fix everything and make everything okay. And I'm reminding you that it's okay if everything's not okay. When we remember who we are, when we click back into that, we don't need anybody around us to be okay. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you could allow everyone around you to be exactly where they're at and not try to fix or change or control or, intervene, but actually continue to just pour in love into the situation? Be that beacon of love. That is my wish for myself this holiday season. And that is my heartfelt wish for you, that you can remember who you are. Remember that generosity of spirit, not get sucked in and pulled into old patterns, old adaptations, old ways of doing things, but actually show up. It's time, and the world needs us. So If you'll join me, that's the invitation. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, pass it along, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.